Hi guys, welcome back to the Cozy Corner. I hope everybody is having a good read month of August. I am here to talk about my September TBR. Now, flipping through my region journal recently, I realised that I've totally neglected every single series I have been reading. So for the month of September, I've decided that I'm only allowed to read books out of the series I'm reading, which I thought was going to be quite limiting until I piled up all the books in the series I'm reading, and there are over 40 of them, so I'm going to have choices. So I'm going to very quickly go through all of the series on my TBR and the books I have with them. So we're going to start off with a series that I just keep putting off, and that is The Hunger Games. I don't know why, but for some reason I have so little interest in actually reading this series. But everybody keeps telling me it's so good and that I will enjoy it when I finally get to it. So maybe September is the lucky month that I finally start my Hunger Games journey. Who knows? I don't even know where to pile books, to be honest. I'm just going to pile books down here. The Friedrich Bachmann Beartown series. So it's Beartown, Us Against You, and then The Winners. I really love Friedrich Bachmann's writing, and the reason I keep putting this off is because these are the last 3 books of Friedrich Bachmann that I've not read, and once it's done, I've read everything he's ever written so far. And the last interview I saw of him, he said he wasn't sure he was going to continue writing. That's really sad. And also, these are set in winter. But saying that, we are heading into yet another heat wave. The humidity today is horrendous, so maybe these will cool me down if I read them during summer. Who knows? But yeah, the Friedrich Bachmann Beartown series. That's part of that series. The Chronicles of Narnia. I have only read The Lion, the Witch and the Wombat. No, I haven't. The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. I don't know what book The Lion, the Witch and the Wombat is, but it's not one that I've read, and I don't even know if it's been written. Wow. Yes, I'm very much looking forward to actually reading the whole series. I've only ever seen the first film as well. I've not seen the rest of the films, so I have had no spoilers. And I'm really excited to find out what happens to the Pevensey siblings and Narnia. The next collection is the Little Women collection. I've read Little Women and Good Wives, so I need to read Little Men, Joe's Boys and 8 Cousins. I really enjoyed the first 2. I don't know how I feel about the second 2. I think the Cousins one will be quite entertaining, but I just don't know. I don't know anything about the other 3. So again, I'm quite intrigued to read, but also I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about it. Okay, the next one is Joel Dicker has a series. I think it's literally called the Marcus Goldman series. Book number 1 is The Truth About the Harry Cabot Affair, which I finished really recently and did enjoy. Then the Alaska Sanders case is actually book number 3. I think the second book's called Baltimore Boys, but I've also been told that you can read them as standalones. So until I find Baltimore Boys, I might read Alaska Sanders case. We shall see. The next one is Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code in that series. I've only physically got the Da Vinci Code. I do have the other ones that I can get available on the audiobook app from my library if I enjoy this one. I studied history of art at college, so I'm really intrigued to read this because I know it's set in the Louvre, which is obviously an art museum in Paris. And the cover is really pretty. I'm really intrigued to read this. It can't wait. Also a little bit apprehensive. The Millennium series. I got all 3 of these books for £1 from a charity shop. That's the only reason I picked them up. I don't know if I'm going to like it, but I do want to give it a go. So that's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, The Girl Who Played with Fire, and The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest are the original 3. I believe the series has been continued by different authors because unfortunately Larson passed away before he finished writing the series, but these are the 3 that he wrote. So I'm going to start with these 3, and if I like them, maybe I'll read the rest of the series. But who knows? Might not be my vibe. Okay, the next series I'm actually really excited about. They are Disney Twisted Tales, and they are the retelling of classic Disney stories. So I have Reflection, What If Mulan Had to Travel to the Underworld, which obviously Return of Mulan. I have, let me grab all of these. Oh, they're heavy. Okay. Mirror Mirror, What If the Evil Queen Poisoned the Prince, which is a return of Snow White. A Whole New World, What If Aladdin Had Never Found the Lamp, which is a return of Aladdin. Shocking. Once Upon a Dream, What If Sleeping Beauty Never Woke Up. That sounds really intriguing. Sleeping Beauty is not my favourite Disney film or princess. I really like Pocahontas, Mulan, and Belle. Those are my top 3. But that does sound really intriguing. Tale as Old as Time, What If Belle's Mother Cursed the Beast? So I think the insinuation from this one is that Belle's mother is the witch. Let It Go, What If Anna and Elsa Never Knew Each Other? I'm intrigued as to how this is going to fold. Like, do they mean sisters separated at birth? Or they were never sisters to begin with, they were just 2 complete strangers. And it's actually quite skinny, this one, so I may start with this one. But I'm really intrigued to see how they thought up that one. Probably the one I'm least looking forward to reading is On Birthday, What If Wonderland Was in Peril and Alice Was Very Late. I have a love-hate relationship with Alice in Wonderland. I think it reads like a fever dream. It really does read like a fever dream. And Lewis Carroll based it on his feelings for a girl called Alice. Alice was a real person, but this girl was 8 years old and he was a grown man. And he had romantic feelings for her. That gives me the ick. Like, no, I don't care how long ago it was, it's still not right. But maybe I need to put that aside and just read this. I'm hoping it doesn't read like a fever dream. I'm hoping there's like some sense to it. We'll see. And then Straight On Till Morn, What If Wendy Went to Neverland with Captain Hook? So this is a retelling of Peter Pan. But I don't know if Peter Pan actually features in here or if it's just about Wendy and Captain Hook. I will let you guys know. So that is the Disney Twisted Tales series. Now moving on, I have 3 historical fiction series I'm reading. All based around the Tudors. Do I get confused with the series? No. The authors have very different writing styles, which is quite lucky. So the first series I'm going to talk about is Alison Weir's, this one's called the Tudor Rose series. Book number 1 is Elizabeth of York, the White Rose. And even though it's a series, they can be read as standalones. Book number 2, I believe, depends, because she's got book number 2 as Henry VIII, the Heart and the Crown. But publication-wise, the second book would be The Golden Prince, which I don't have. And then the third book, or the fourth book, depending how you look on it, is Mary the First, Queen of Sorrows, which is obviously about Mary I, daughter of King Henry VIII, and her mother was Catherine of Aragon. So I don't know much about Mary I, so I'm very interested to read this one. My second Tudor series is also by Alison Weir, and it's the Six Tudor Queens, so a book for each wife of Henry VIII. These are not in order. So we have Catherine of Aragon, the true queen. Anne Boleyn, A King's Obsession. Oh, it smells old. I like old smelling book. Nope. Where are you, Jane Seymour? Down here. Jane Seymour, the Haunted Queen. Rumoured to be the only wife Henry VIII actually loved. My personal favourite queen, Anne of Cleves, Queen of Secrets. I just think she was such a sassy badass, like a total girl boss. I really, really loved everything I've learned about Anne of Cleves so far. Book 5, Catherine Howard, the Tainted Queen. I feel it should have been called the Child Queen because she was so young when she got married and so young when she got executed. And then the last one, Catherine Parr, the Sixth Wife. Damn. Didn't put much thought into that title, did we? Oh, small writing in this one. The Surviving Wife, the Last Wife, but no, the Sixth Wife. So those are those. I am really excited about reading those. I keep putting them off because I have such high expectations from that series that I'm worried I might feel a little bit let down, especially with the Anne of Cleves book, because like I said, she's my favourite of Henry's wives. And I don't know. Whoops. I just want it to be good, and hopefully it will be. I've enjoyed all of Alison Weir's books I've read so far, so there's no reason why I won't enjoy those. Okay. The next series is Philippa Gregory, Plantagenets and Tudors. There are, I believe it's a series of something like 17 books, but they can all be read as standalone books. I've already read a few of them. I've done a few of them on audiobook, and I'm just going to show you the ones I physically have to read. Yikes! Okay, let's start with, these are in no particular order, it's just how I picked them up. The King's Curse, which I believe is, I believe it's the whole story of Henry VIII from his childhood the whole way through. Don't quote me on that, I'm not completely sure. It must be because it goes back to 1499, so that's pretty early on in Henry's childhood. And then we have The Constant Princess, which is the story of Catherine of Aragon from her early years, how she came to England to marry Prince Arthur, his death, and then I guess how, I don't say how she got with Henry VIII, but her story of her marriage to Henry VIII. So I will be interested to compare this one about Catherine of Aragon from Philippa Gregory and the one from Alison Weir. Taming the Queen. This one is about Catherine Parr, I believe. Yes. And how she really did not want to marry Henry VIII. And I guess it's about how he persuaded her. I mean, the threat of having her head chopped off probably helped slightly, but you know, who knows? Then we have The Boleyn Inheritance. I believe this one is about Anne of Cleves. Yes, so this one is Anne of Cleves, and it also covers Catherine Howard. I don't know much about it. I saw it was about Anne of Cleves and I was like, yep, that's mine. I also love that Philippa Gregory's chapters, they start with who the chapter's about, where it's placed, and the year. So like Anne, Westminster Palace, June 1540. That's just always like super helpful, especially when the chapters alternate between characters. So I'm really excited to read that one. Okay, so the next two are part of more the Plantagenet side of this series, and that is the Red Queen, which is the cousin of Henry VI, so Henry VIII's grandfather, I believe. And then the Lady of the Rivers, which is, I believe, about a lady from France or Luxembourg who becomes friends with Henry VI's wife. I don't know, she might become her lady in waiting. It doesn't say. So both of these are about the House of Lancaster and the House of York. We shall see. The two I'm least looking forward to reading in this series, but maybe Philippa Gregory will change my mind and I'll like the Plantagenets as much as I like the Tudors. The Queen's Fall is a story about a young Jewish girl called Hannah who is sent by Robert Dudley, is it? Yeah. Yes. Robert Dudley sends her to spy on Princess Mary, and then this girl Hannah gets caught up between the rivalries of Princess Mary and her younger sister Princess Elizabeth. Apart from that, I don't really know much more about it. Apart from it's got really small writing. Okay, well, get my magnifying glass out and it'll be fine. And then the last book I own in that series is the most recent one of The Berlin Traitor. Now this is, I don't know if this is Waterloo Special Edition, but not all of them have this cover. So it's got a stunning cover inside. I didn't get the sprayed edges and I don't regret it because I'm not a massive fan of sprayed edges. I'm very excited to read this one. I believe it's about a cousin. Jane Boleyn. I can't remember if Jane Boleyn is the cousin of Anne Boleyn or Anne Boleyn's sister-in-law. I'll have to find out as I'm reading. But that completes my historical fiction series I'm reading as well. So let's move on to the non-fiction. These are I have two non-fiction series. First one, I don't actually know if it's a series, but I'm grouping it together in a series, and it's Scottish Murders, which I've already read, Scottish Ghosts, Scotland's Great Mysteries, and Scottish Myths and Legends. Again, I don't know if these are actually a series, but I've grouped them together as a series, and they are in my reading journal tracker as a series. So I have these three left to read. This is actually on my 26th for 2026, so I should probably get reading that. But the writing in this one in particular is really small. But the other two aren't as small, so maybe I will start with the other two and maybe this will need to roll over for next year's reading. And then my last series, I actually only have two of the physical books, then I've got a handful of them on my audiobook library app. And it is Christopher Berry Dee's series of Talking With. So this one is female serial killers, talking with serial killers. He's got like loads of ones of psychopaths and what was on there? Psychopaths, Dead Man Walking, Jeffrey Dahmer, basically criminals. And he goes and interviews them, and yeah, just writing a book about them. I'm really into true crime and forensic and pathology and all of that, so I'm really intrigued to read these as well. So there we have it. I believe there are 49 books piled around me. all from series that I'm currently reading that I've just abandoned since the first quarter of the year. So those will be my options for my reads in September, and I will let you guys know how I get on with it. See you again soon. Bye.